Hey, welcome back to my channel, and this time we are going to make two themes that I've used and update my sheets in the process. So this particular column here is for when Luocha was not released yet, and even when he was released it was only like 1 or 2 days old, so this was definitely an outdated one. So when I did my Luocha E2 Theorycrafting, and it was proven so many times, and due to the fact that Luocha became such a revelation in the MoC, and he makes MoC such a joke now, so this will be the updated build that I will append to my sheets. So as you can see that much has been totally replaced by the Pela and Luocha husband-wife combo, since that's actually the best combo. When I tested March 7th, Clara and Luocha together, I felt that Luocha is not activating his auto heal, and if he's not activating his auto heal, then it's less efficient since he doesn't use a skill point and he activates a field using this auto heal. So actually it's better to swap out March for Pela instead, and that's what I did. So as you can see, all the March 7 from my Luocha Revelation has been removed because I feel that it's a lot more efficient. So other than that, the teams has remained the same, but I have one comment for MoC 10. Jingyuan, Tingyuan, Natasha, and Fire MC are still the best one I could make so far, but I feel that this team is rather weak. If I have two Luochas, I would have replaced Natasha already, and if I have two Tingyuans, I would have replaced Bronya. But I can see Yukong as a potential replacement for the Bronya right here. So that's my comment for MoC 10. Now we're going for the tier list again. I've added a new general tier list for only individual characters that I have tested so far. So you won't see like Jepat because I don't have a Jepat. You won't see Jinche because I haven't invested in her as much, as well as Yukong. But I really want to test out Yukong and Jinche again. So as you can see that I've moved Luocha outgoing healing boost and no defense main start from C to F tier because it's so terrible. I've tested it so many times. I borrowed Natasha's relics, and with the outgoing healing boost, holy shit, Luocha is so terrible at that. So I had to move it from C to F, and I think Luocha will appreciate it if I did that. So I did that. So other than that, the tier list here hasn't changed. It's just the from C to F here. But now the main thing here is we're looking at a new general individual character tier list from all the seasons I've tested. So starting from B tier, we have Sampo, and Sampo actually does one thing very well, and it is windbreaking. He's got multi-instance hits on his skill, and my god, it's actually very, very interesting to see how the weakness break meter goes all the way down to 25%. Sampo is an excellent at windbreaking. He is excellent, but the only thing that stops him from being S tier is because there's no Nihility DPS characters at the moment. So he's that at B tier for now. Asta, she can be completely replaced by Yukong and Tingyun, and even Bronya in some situations. So, and the hardest part about Asta, right, is that you need E4 and E6 to make her work properly. And she loses her stacks quite frequently also, so that's the problem. But Yukong, even though she loses stacks more frequently, she has offensive potential. And not only that, she can be built either fast or slow. So Yukong is definitely more versatile than Asta, and that's what I feel. But I haven't tested Yukong out, so I cannot make any more comments other than that. Okay, starting from A tier, we will go to Serval. Reason why is because she's doing less damage than Jingyuan, full stop. But however, at her weakness break timing, she's doing better than Jingyuan, especially for the automatons found in MoC 10. She handles the automatons so well compared to Jingyuan. Since automatons have this sanction mode thing and prevents weakness breaking, and Serval is able to unleash ultimate at the correct time to break. So that's why Serval is actually quite good as a damage dealer. She can actually do more damage than Jingyuan if you invest in her very, very heavily. So that's my point here. Su Shang, one thing that she's very good at, weakness breaking and handling, as well as interruptions. In the moment you see enemies acting multiple times, you can basically just hit ultimate in the middle, and this completely interrupts the enemy. She handles weakness breaks very well, so very, very good. But the only thing that stops her from going from S tier is that her low damage compared to Zilla, unfortunately. So A tier. Silverwolf, she's I might get butchered for this, but she's A tier in my opinion. And the thing that really stops her from going to S tier is due to the fact that she needs effect hit rate all the time, and especially E0. And with E2, obviously she will have less effect hit rate, so you can focus on the more offensive stats and defensive stats. Depends on your playstyle and your preference. But the problem with Silverwolf, the biggest problem is that she doesn't have the buff removal, sorry about that. So buff removal is actually one thing that Pela can do much better. And buff removal is something that saves a lot of DPS checks in the game. So that's why Silverwolf is just A tier. You might see weakness break here, weakness break there. She's good at weakness breaks, implanting weakness and all that. But the thing is, if you can't defend yourself, then don't even talk about weakness breaks. And this is where Pela comes in. She actually defends the team quite well as providing offensive capability. Not only does her relic slots allow her to equip defensive stats and relics like Knight of Purity Palace, as well as effect hit rate substats, she does tank well. And I've been using Pela at level 50 at the moment. And with defensive stats and Knight of Purity Palace, she's doing almost as well as Luocha in terms of tanking damage. That's why Pela is still better than Silverwolf in my opinion. And on March 7th, we have put her in S tier. That's because she has the ability to direct aggro to any teammate of your choice, as well as providing an initial shield on E2 to any teammate of your choice. So March 7 is very strong. So if you pair March 7 and Jingyuan, you can actually save Jingyuan's energy management problem, since enemies attack Jingyuan so often. And March 7 and Clara is still the best combo if you don't have Luocha. I've been clearing MoC all the way to 1 to 10 with Clara and March 7th without any healer. So that's why March 7 is still S tier in my heart. And now that she's a legacy unit, if you have Luocha and Pela, she still does works a lot of wonders. And that's why March 7th is amazing. And don't forget, she has freeze as a crowd control. So if Clara needs to recharge her ultimate, or is like low health, then you can just freeze the opponent and give your teammates some chance to set up Clara again. So that's why March 7th is still S tier in my opinion. Jingyuan, I already said just now from my server review just now, and Jingyuan, the only problem is that his energy management prior E4 is totally hard to do, and sprightly one way on him is terrible, energy regen rope on him is terrible, so that you have to find a way to solve this energy cliffhanger. That's why Jingyuan is very hard to play, and he's a lot of the time pay to win in order to use him properly at his full potential. And unfortunately, his full potential is locked behind E4. That's why Jingyuan is not S plus but S. But his single target damage and his AoE damage is phenomenal with his talent, which also addresses his weird playstyle of having talent in his main DPS compared to skill and ultimate. So that's why. Zilla, okay, I might get butchered for this again, but she's just S tier. Reason why is that she cannot handle brute forcing as well as Clara. And Zilla unfortunately needs some quarter weakness all the time. So you're going to be pairing Zilla and Silverwolf together most of the time. But since that Zilla and Bronya are probably going to be best together, and if you put Silverwolf together, your chances of having a defensive team will really fall. And that's why Zilla, Bronya, Natasha, and Fire MC are still the best combo to date for defensive utility as well as offensive utility. So that's why it's very hard to put Zilla in an all-offensive team. I mean, you can do like Zilla, Ting Yun, and Bronya together, but Zilla, she's a glass cannon. And glass cannons very hard to survive in AoE battle. In MoC 9, Zilla is surviving on 19 HP only after Kokolia's AoE attack, charge AoE attack. So Zilla really struggles in the survivability department. But however, Zilla is still phenomenal at doing single target damage as well as multi-target damage due to the amount of resurgence procs that she gets most of the time. So it allows you to freely change targets, and she's very versatile at doing that. So you can run 2 light cones on her, and this is In the Night or Swordplay. But I prefer using Swordplay because you can mow down the same boss at the time, and whenever this boss is getting mowed down, right, she's getting damage stacks, universal damage stacks, not just crit damage, but universal damage. And this makes her a very consistent damage dealer. So S tier for Zilla. Amazing hunt unit and very interesting gameplay. And due to resurgence, right, she bypasses all the weaknesses of other hunt characters like Dan Heng, Su Shang. And Zilla is actually quite good at interrupting also, since her ultimate can proc resurgence if you provided and only provided you can secure kill. Alright, so S plus tier, the amazing characters that I feel that it is so damn powerful and can be used in every universal moment in the battle. First, Luocha, amazing healer. And for Luocha, I already said so many times, put defense percentage, HP percentage, attack percentage, done. And then you have this Luocha Theorycraft here, which gives him the necessary amount of stats to survive the hardest in-game content. And I've already said defense, HP, defense first above HP, and speed also. And attack is like not really needed since you already have his Echoes of Coffin like cone. And especially at S2, he's amazing at healing from 25 HP to 100% HP. Amazing. Luocha is amazing. And to be honest, Luocha doesn't even need his field healing. But it's just nice to upgrade it to get more consistency out of the healing. And even Luocha at level 2 and level 3 traces, his healing capacity is overkill. And therefore you are freely able to invest in defense stats. So that's why Luocha is so damn perfect as a healer. So Ting Yun, I already said it so many times, S tier. Since she can provide the necessary buffs and the correct buffs for Jingyuan and Clara, as well as Sealer. Amazing. And if you have her with Dance Like Cone at Super Imposition 5, and whenever you have her at 154 speed and above, oh my god, she's moving so fast. She's moving way too fast. And the thing is that you can just use skill 2 times and she's charging her ability, her ultimate so quickly, and especially with the final bonus ability you unlock when getting to level 70. This will solve her energy problems, and with all the bonus abilities unlocked, Tingyun is amazing as a general buffer. However, the one thing that really brings her down is her survivability, and that's horrible. But and her high aggro also, that's the problem. I don't know whether this is a bug or what in the game, but this is the case for Tingyun. So expect to see her getting hit a lot of the time, even though Fire MC is holding a taunt skill at that time. So that's the only drawback of Tingyun. But other than that, despite the drawbacks I mentioned, still S plus tier. And it's a secret 5-star unit that you must pull. And now that Tingyun is in the shop currently, go buy her. Buy her from the shop. Because her E1 and E2 are amazing and solves a lot of energy problems for many characters. Alright, so Clara, S plus tier, I already said so many times. From my podium, I already said that Clara is the best brute forcer with champion Streetwise Boxing Inner Sassoto on the 4th of Aeon, and it's a waste to use her as a defensive support. Because she's doing so much damage. She's doing 1.5 million damage at a highest peak in 7 cycles with a buff Clara and defense down. And now with Luocha, she can probably do even 1.6 million damage in 7 cycles. That is amazing. And this only applies if enemies keep hitting her. So Clara already has the highest damage ceiling in the entire game and the highest survivability. And since Clara has so many damage mitigation as well as effect rest from the skills and the bonus abilities, she can be a defensive unit and an offensive unit at the same time. 2 units in one. That is amazing, and that's the reason why you can run Pela, Tingyun, Luocha, and Clara together for the ultimate hyper carry Clara build. And you must always put defense percentage on Luocha, no matter what, to make Clara as effective. Because why so? You don't want Luocha to be like healing himself. The worst thing is that Luocha spends his auto heal on himself. That's the worst thing that can ever happen. And to prevent that, I put defense percentage and HP percentage. That solve his skill and solve the main problems of Luocha's survivability. And Luocha's survivability is equal or worse than Tingyun. Just let you know. Alright, so Fire MC. Why S plus tier? It's because of her taunt. Unfortunately, this is not a cover skill, but a taunt skill. So, if it was a cover skill, that means like enemies will always target Fire MC, but this is not the case so far. But the thing is, her taunt is so powerful with Landau's Choice and Moment of Victory, and this saves a lot of teams from dying. Saves a lot of Tingyus from dying, saves a lot of Sealers from dying. That's the reason why Fire MC is so powerful. But then again, you expect that wild 1 or 2 shots to like hit Tingyun if you pair Tingyun and Fire MC together, even though when Fire MC is using the skill taunt. But then, still amazing unit. And guess what? She's free to play! At day 1 of the game was released, and admit it, everyone, please admit, you have been using Fire MC for at least 5 MoC battles, and this makes her already S plus tier. Just admit it, you've been using Fire MC, and she's doing amazing. She's providing shields every time she's attacking. Her enhanced attacks are so powerful that she's so good at breaking. Her ultimate breaks really hard especially for the enemies weak to fire. Amazing breaker unit also, in a way. And if you level up her talent to the highest level, her shields really mitigate that much of damage, and every one of those 5% defense shields that she provides to her allies, it counts. It counts really greatly to the survival of the team. That's why Fire MC is still S plus tier. I haven't tested Jepat yet, and I don't have Jepat, so for now I'm just putting Fire MC on the list, and Jepat is not rated, since this is tested characters only. Oh, and guess what? In Fire MC, right, you can also use a Speed Fire MC, and this maximizes the amount of breaking, and as well as maximizes the amount of shields implanted onto your allies, applied onto your allies. So amazing defensive unit. And with the Taunt skill, although not perfect, she does a lot of damage reduction. Okay, Natasha. Admit it. You've been using Natasha for all your MoC battles, especially if you don't have a healer on your team. And especially if you don't have a healer on your account, this is the only free-to-play healer. You're getting her for free. Her Eidolons are so easy to get. The more pulls over time you will do, and the longer you play, you eventually get E6 anyway by default. So Natasha, amazing. And everything scales to HP, so it's very easy to build her also. So outgoing healing boost, HP percentage. Beautiful, solid combo for Natasha. And she's got emergency panic heal button from ultimate. So and she heals quite a lot of HP, like 1.8k to 2k HP with the relic setup that I mentioned just now. Amazing. Natasha is really amazing. And she cleanse debuff. The one thing that Natasha can do other than Bailu is that she can use a skill and remove a debuff, and that is amazing. Debuff removal from allies is not to be underestimated and shouldn't be overlooked. That's why Natasha still S plus tier. And this especially holds true now if you have only one healer on your account. Okay, and then Bronya. Amazing, I don't need to explain this. She can offer offensive and defensive utility. Say if your healer really needs to heal at that moment in time, you can use skill on the healer, and then the healer will force a turn, and eventually you can spam ultimate or use another skill. However, Bronya with Tingyun and Zila, right, is very skill point expensive. That's the thing. So another disadvantage of Bronya is that she's very skill point expensive. However, this is not the case if you plan to use Bronya with Mashing Cogs. And Bronya with Mashing Cogs, right, she's going to be your battery, your main battery for your entire team. Since she spends basic attack, she gets energy. Whenever she gets hit, she also gets same energy. 8 energy. And that's a lot for MoC. That's actually a lot. So, and since her ultimate is so powerful with attack and crit damage buff, right, this is exactly why the skill is very important to charge, as well as basic attack very important to charge energy. So if you use Mashing Cogs on Bronya, you can have almost equal effect. So skill charges 30 energy and basic attack charges 28 energy with a Mashing Cogs. Amazing support unit. Or if you want to use a hyper carry unit, that is totally fine, since Bronya is also good with But the Battle Isn't Over, which also give her energy regenerate. And all the time you'll be running energy regen rope on her anyway, so she'll be using a lot of ultimates more often. And due to the sheer amount of ultimates she uses in one battle, best that you use Eagle of Twilight line on her, and therefore she will quadruple her personal speed. Oh, that's amazing. And the moment she quadruples her speed as well as her amount of turns in one cycle, she's doing a lot of energy recharging. So a maximum offensive potential for your team. And then you can even force a turn on Zealer to get extra energy, provided you have the skill points for it. So Bronya can save lives. Bronya can save lives, especially where she needs to support a healer. She needs to force a turn to a healer. If she needs to force a turn to a Fire MC, so that Fire MC can use a shield, the skill. That's why Bronya, oh my god, that is amazing. And for every reroll account, my suggestion is this: you're not going to pull for Yanqing, you're not going to pull for Bailu or Clara, you're going to pull for Bronya instead. So every reroll account must have at least one Bronya. Although she's quite frail, the thing is, she doesn't get targeted as much as Tingyun, and that is what I found out throughout my entire MoC 10 testing. So yes, Bronya is still considered S tier, despite being very, very skill point expensive. But she offers such a tremendous amount of support in both defensive and offensive. So these are the general individual character tier list from all the seasons I've tested, from 1.0.3 Favor of Amber, 1.1.1 Codiron Tribulation, 1.1.2 Hyperborean Search for Warmth. And this is what I can summarize for now, according to my testing. Podium has nothing changed. Same podium as usual. If you want to visit my podium again, feel free to look at my previous sheets video. Everything is already explained. And my theorycraft. Okay, for my theorycraft, right, I changed break effect from B tier to F tier. Since that Luocha doesn't use ultimate to break most of the time, also his ultimate, when he breaks an enemy, he is a guaranteed break. So that means you get guaranteed imprison. And using a basic attack or a skill does not implant imprison onto enemies. So that's why effect hit rate and break effect are F tier. I completely overlooked the break effect being B tier on my last Luocha Theorycrafting. So sorry about that. So I moved from B tier to F tier. So sorry about that yet again. Because break effect is just completely useless on Luocha, since it's just guaranteed every time you break an enemy anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so here is my MoC 10 tier list, as well as my podium, my E2 Luocha Theorycrafting, and my teams that I used. So feel free to use those teams. Feel free to take any advice that I have made for you all, because I don't like people making untested builds. I don't like people making predictions and it turns out otherwise that is not true and not the best for any scenario. So that's why I've been testing my builds, hours and hours testing my builds. I've been spending days, hours, weeks testing the same build again and again. You can see that my whole channel is flooded with MoC 9 and 10 clears, 3-star clears. That's why I'm just proving to you that I'm testing them. Unlike other people out there who just make a build on their channel and then it turns out that it's not good. That's why I've been testing, and then I only did one theorycraft because I feel confident. I mean, I can do more theorycrafts if you want to, but I just don't feel confident at the moment. But I feel so confident for the Luocha theorycraft. That's why there's only one theorycraft till date. Although I'm quite experienced player already. I'm not the best player, I can say that. I'm not the best, but I can say that I'm very experienced and I know what I'm doing. That's all I can say. Cheers.